Is high drama going to throw the plays to the wolves? Sarah Delapé's The Wolves, directed by Lyda Neugebauer, is about a girls' soccer team. For once, a play about a female sports team. And they're dreaming of making it to nationals because it's usually held in Orlando. And more than anything, they want to go to Disney World. Like real athletes. What are you doing now? I'm going to Disney World. Then, so they discuss, you know, while they're doing their warm-ups and stretching, they discuss dictators, you know, like in Vietnam and Cambodia, and they're saving Guatemalan children, their past, present, the coach and his drunkenness, how they miss the old coach, you know, and the usual teen angst. Well, a new girl joins the team and almost upsets the balance. What's big deal of self-knowledge? I love that line. And Lila directed this as a slice of life of counter-conversations of a group of girls who grew up together with the love of soccer that nothing can intrude on despite dire setbacks. This was just, it was just so well done and brilliant, and the acting and everything was just fantastic. I love this.
This is part of Aubergine's first Irish festival. It's at 59 East 59. We're not sure how to pronounce some of the Irish names, but Bears in Space, written by Aidan Quinn, directed by Dan Colley, composer, sound design Cameron McCauley, is one of the most enjoyable things I've seen in a long time. The story keeper, McCauley, and his sons tell the story of cosmonaut bears, Volyova, Aaron Heffernan, and Borgash, Aidan Quinn, and their attempt to save their frozen Captain Lazara. They must save their ship from the nefarious plans of Premier Nico, Jack Gleason of Metropia. The quest focuses on Borgash, who doesn't know his past but would like to be a captain, to overcome dangers and his own selfishness, to gain the spirit of captaincy and be a more loyal friend and a loving creature. It's an incredible physical ensemble. These guys are totally drenched in sweat by the end, but I just haven't enjoyed anything as inventive and exciting, and you don't know what's going to happen next.
Can you believe this? Can you believe our Mark Savitt, our grim, dead baby loving, Greek tragedy loving Mark Savitt loves this adorable puppet show? Oh my God, it's like, instead of pigs flying, we got bears flying in space. This was so delightful. Oh my God, those puppets, oh, Borgash was just the cutest puppet ever. The more mentory puppet was almost kind of like, he reminds me of Skin Horse, you know, the much-loved creature in the Velveteen Rabbit. Oh. This was a charming, delightful, fun, and the puppets were terrific, and the story was fabulous, and the storyteller was so wry and funny, and I just love this so much.
Yeah, it's like a perfect Fringe production.
Oh, it's better than Fringe, I think.
Well, it's as good as Bicycle Man.
Also part of First Irish is Honor Molloy's Crackskull Row, directed by Kira Simring. And at the end of the show, I'm going to have an interview with Honor Molloy, and I am going to do a spoiler alert because you guys got to be warned. This is actually the Oedipus story. It's like Greek tragedy. It's incestuous. I, of course, disliked it intensely. This was not my kind of play at all.
Yeah, from the adorable, cute, whimsical Bears in Space, this is the absolute opposite. It's, you know, dire Dublin realism. And but I thought it was really very well done. It's this sort of derelict old woman and her, you know, haunted by memories of the past, her past self, her husband, whose name was Basher, appropriately, and her son, young Rash, who is quite rash, we find out. And then also of a young woman who you think might be her daughter, but you're not sure. And the cast goes really well from absolute dire realism to these dreamlike sequences that are very different, but they handled them beautifully. So I thought it was quite good.
Well, see, I like the acting. I mean, Terry Donnelly I've seen in a million Irish rep plays, and she's wonderful. And John Charles McLaughlin as the son. Oh my God, I saw him in the Biscuit Club as this adorable dog. We're keeping with the animal theme here. And he was so cute. So it's like, I love the acting, but my God, the subject matter was just icky to me. So it's like,
I like icky
happy,
things.
happy for the actor, unhappy for the play. And I'm sorry, Honor Molloy, because when you were talking about it, it sounded fantastic.
If you're not squeamish, you'll really like it.
I went to the Triad to see the very, very first performance of McCready. So this is a report because it wasn't press ready yet, although to me it was very press ready because it was fantastic. And again, at the end of the show, I'm going to have an interview with Jennifer Blake, who co-created this and stars in it, and she is just has the most incredible voice. And I don't know anything about country western singers, so I didn't know anything about this person. That's why I was so interested to see it. Mindy McCready she's giving us the lowdown on the downfall of double platinum country and gold country western singer Mindy McCready. She had a tragic yet exhilarating life filled with booze and drugs and relations with the likes of Superman's Dean Cain and an unnamed baseball player. But it's very easy to guess who it is, and you can always go to Wikipedia and confirm your suspicions. And there's a real story to see how this self-confident young singer who told the record producers, "Oh, you'll have to wait and I'll tell you if I want to sign with you or not," and because she was so self-confident. And then she gets involved with all these men and drugs and booze, and all of a sudden she becomes so dependent on all of these things. And all that pales to Jennifer Blake's big voice that breaks through and breaks your heart with McCready's own music. The superlative supporting cast playing unsupporting roles and instruments lit up the small stage. They also mingled amongst the audience at the Triad, bringing us even closer to the story. For those of you like me who don't know a thing about Mindy McCready, this is a toe-tapping way to find out. So I suggest you hightail it over to Triad and listen to Mindy McCready, 10,000 Angels, and the way the man does it. It's just got great music.
At Playwrights Horizon is Aubergine, written by Julia Cho, directed by Kate Wariski, and it features Chef Ray Tim Kang, whose father is dying of cirrhosis, and there's an all-knowing, all-compassionate, makes me sick, hospice nurse, Lucienne, who's guiding Ray through this process of the father's death. Ray's girlfriend, Cor, speaks Korean much better than he does, and she's able to inform the father's estranged brother, who's in Korea, about this imminent demise. He comes over, there's a whole lot of food being prepared or talked about, and, realization of self and relationship to others. I thought it was very cliched and sentimental, but good acting.
Oh my God, we are so at opposite ends on this one. This was my kind of play. I was crying through the whole thing. It was so moving. This is a play about dying, death, and memories, especially about the loss of a parent and what it does to you, and how it relates to food, and how memories of food can bring back the memory of this loved moment in your life that you want to keep replicating but you can't. And it's just, the guy, Ray, cooks people's memories. It's brilliant. It's like so touching. It's one of the most profound plays describing and
Treacle.
I love treacle. Experiencing death. If any of you have ever experienced death, and he's he likes Greek tragedy. He likes dead babies.
I like the hard
incest.
truths. I don't need sentimentality.
Yeah,
sorry.
He likes his bread hard. I like it soft and mushy. So.
But again, the acting is wonderful.
Oh my God, the acting was superb.
And two of the monologues are among the most well-written things I've heard in a long time. So when it's good, it's great.
And the first monologue, which you think,
that's my favorite.
It sets up the entire play because, you wonder, like, well, what she got to do with the play? But it's sort of like a curtain raiser. It's like it's like two little one-act plays.
Peripheral that turns out to be central.
I love this. this. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking because I loved it so much. You can add the last word.
See it if you...
At Dixon Place, I saw Spencer Lott's Blossom. It's all about James Blossom, who was a scene painter for the movies, but now he's suffering from Alzheimer's, and his daughter has to put him in a home. He has Walter Mitty fantasies from the movies that he painted as a deep-sea diver, or an African explorer, or a life-saving surgeon. The puppets have real personalities, and my puppeteer friend admired the unity of the story and the puppets. It was a bit too human heavy for me, as I prefer it when everybody's a puppet, but the acting was quite wonderful, and it would have been blended more if the daughter was dressed differently from the rest of the hospital gowned puppeteers, because they all had hospital gear on because he was in a home. The audience was most appreciative, and the problem is I saw Aubergine before this, so I was so emotionally drained when I saw this that I couldn't be as moved by it as I normally would be. But the puppets, and they were kind of confined to these little tea tray things. I mean, it would have been nice to have them kind of move out more, but it was just beautifully done, and I really truly loved it, and the audience was howling with laughter. So even though it's Alzheimer's and a heavy subject, it was not, excuse the pun, heavy.
Sean Gallery, in collaboration with the play company at La Mama, presents Caught, written by Christopher Chen, directed by Lee Sunday Evans. And this is an intricate and extremely clever shape-shifting show, makes us question all manner of truths and lies, as well as cultural assumptions about China and the U.S., art and documentation. We start with a lecture by a Chinese dissident artist, Lin Bao, who was later interrogated by editors at the New Yorker magazine regarding suspected inaccuracies in his profile. And it gets even more convoluted after that. Many transformations occur, and we're left more confused about what is true and what is a lie, but illuminated by the challenge and thankful for the brilliant writing, direction, sets, and performances. Be adventurous and let yourself be caught by Caught.
Yeah. We have to be so careful that this is why we have to read it. I mean, we had to choose our words with care. But I love the opening lecture by Lin Bao, because we get to see slides of old China and everything, and then how dangerous it is to be an artist. And when you think about Mao Zedong, you know, the whole Cultural Revolution, it's just it's incredible. And it was like a monkey puzzle play with many layers that will leave your head spinning with laughter, outrage, and possibly tears at the cruelty towards artists and their realities. But are they your realities? This is one of the most brilliant and intelligent pieces of theater you will ever come across. And just like the play has several meanings, so does the title Caught. You will be just as caught up in it as I was. So, yes.
It's a very special, disorientating experience.
I've been telling everybody to go see this one. This is a short version of Leslie DeLeo and my review of Edwin Booth, the story of Edwin Booth. I almost said Edwin Drew, that's funny. The music is by Mariana Rosette, and the book and lyrics are by Eric Swanson, and is directed by Christopher Scott. The story of Edwin Booth should have been filled with drama and conflict, but was weighed down by ploddingly earnest songs, and that tone could have showcased the melodramatic style of the opening number, The Truth of Edwin Booth. I mean, the opening was hysterical. It was tuneful and delightful as they were doing the style of acting of the day, and I thought, this is going to be wonderful. But then, we only get snippets of his life, snippets of Shakespeare, and snippets of song, and I just wanted to snip it in the bud. There was so much wasted opportunity to tell us about this illustrious acting dynasty and their sordid family secrets. The parents never married. The drunken father passes it down to the son. The older brother Junius getting into trouble with underage girls. Brother John Wilkes assassinating Lincoln. These were just touched upon. Instead, we repetitiously get Edwin moaning about killing his wife and father, but it doesn't make any sense why he thinks this. The characters may have been flat, and the lyrics none too sharp. They rose to their toes. That describes a standing ovation. But the singing and acting was beautiful, and I'd love to see them in a better musical worthy of their talents. This was a major disappointment for both of us, but we liked the singing and acting, but we didn't like the play or the lyrics.
At Second Stage Downtown, we have The Layover, written by Leslie Headland, directed by Trip Coleman, and it has Annie Parise and Adam Rothenberg as strangers who meet cute on a plane on Thanksgiving Day. And she presents herself as an academic who's very independent and doesn't want to get married. He's engaged, but you think he definitely has second thoughts about it. And they're very attracted to each other. But their dialogue has all these overtones of film noir references and Patricia Highsmith, and there's all this busy stuff that's pretty interesting.
Patricia Highsmith's Strangers on a Train, the Hitchcock movie is what he's referring
Right.
to. And also we should say that Annie Parisi isn't in it right now. Maria Drizia has taken over.
Equally great, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
I love them both.
Exactly, totally see them apart. But I agree with Mark. I thought this was going to be this brief encounters, a dramedy sort of situation. This 6 rooms review with these two people get together, and much as I like the seeing their families. I mean, John Procaccino is like one of my favorite
They're good actors, but I could live without that.
But they were so cliche and just
cartoons.
And it just amazed me because Leslie Headland wrote The Brilliant Bachelorette, which is a great play. So I was surprised because that was ferociously clever, and this was like, what the heck is going on here?
Well, the first few scenes where it's just the two of them are ferociously clever, and the acting I saw was brilliant, and I'm sure Maria Drizia would be just as great. So, it just took a wrong course and kept going.
Yeah, I think with rewriting this could be very good. She should,
focus on those two.
The first scene and go from there. And don't bring up the strangers on a train because we're expecting people to be murdered. It's like, it's like a red herring. It's like a MacGuffin, like a Hitchcock MacGuffin. So I'm giving it a mix.
Keep with what's good.
Jettison the rest. First, my interview with Jennifer Blake in McCready. McCready.
I guess it was conceived by a collaborator and myself back in the fall of 2014. I'd asked him if he wanted to go get coffee, and I ran a few ideas by him. John Bernstein. And he's a writer and also teaches at UCLA, teaches screenwriting at UCLA. And I really missed singing, and I knew I really wanted to do something that took place in my southern roots. And we started throwing ideas around, and he had said, you kind of look like Mindy McCready? And I was like, yeah, I've had a few people tell me that in my life, and I had just remembered her vaguely from the 90s, but nothing personal about her life, just 10,000 Angels and Guys Do It All the Time, and knew what she looked like. But so we started looking up everything, and I had also recently seen her on the Dr. Drew Celebrity Rehab when she was talking about her life, and she sang one of her songs on there, and so that was it. But I really liked her in that show. She just seemed so warm and like somebody I would want to be friends with, and so started looking more into her life, and it was just sort of, as my friend that I was staying with said the other day, like, how many bad things can happen to one person? It was like, she couldn't catch a break, huh? Where you're telling the story of a person's life. She lived until she was 37 years old. So you go, how am I going to squeeze all of this information into an hour and 10 minutes and get my points across and have it be moving without it being, and then this year this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, with it being, having a dramatic flair to it. That is the sign, I think, of a successful or moving or well-done piece, is that you keep thinking about it. You think about it in the shower the next day. You think about it going to bed that night. You might talk about it to friends, and just that you're even thinking about it on the subway and going, wait, what? That to me, if it sticks to your ribs a little bit. And then the second would be that people go home and look up who she was, look up her whole song catalog, download her songs. I had friends in LA that told me I have never bought a country song in my life, and I went and like bought 2 of her albums after your show. So that said a whole lot to me too. So yeah.
And now to talk with Origin's first Irish honor, Molloy in Crackskull Row. And I owe her an apology because turns out I misunderstood her play completely. And then I'm going to talk to Fiona Walsh about her play Great White American Teeth. And from New York Shakespeare Exchange, Vince Gatton and Carey Driest about Shakespeare.
No, it's Oedipus. Oedipus comes home from his interior wars, and he remembers the past. And so the past is up and down all around inside the present. So there are ghosts that way. So there's magic in it and madness. I mean, people are kind of, you don't know if they're insane or if there really is magic. So it's just, and we're all working together, and there's a sense of equality and sharing where the lighting designer said, I'm not sure about that moment. And we looked at it, and it changed, not changed the whole ending of the play, but it changed the texture, and it took one strand, a potentially sentimental strand, and removed it. And because that's what I was all about. Like, let's get right down to real magic. You know, or just like, what is the real truth underneath this? What is the absolute truth? Let's keep stripping. We need a fourth wall, yeah. And although it is, you know, there's a bit of the Williams memory play there, or Dancing at Lunasa, you know, where the protagonist of the play talks directly, director-audience address, but the action that happens in the past needs to stay in the past and not bleed into our seats or laps. Here we are with
Fiona Walsh.
And apparently there's this Best of Fest, and your show is back?
That's right. My show, Great White American Teeth, is coming back for one performance only on September 22nd at the New York Irish Centre in Long Island City in Queens. I did it first in the festival in 2008 for about 3 or 4 performances, and I've worked it and performed it a number of times in different areas and different venues with George as the director, so I'm really excited to have it back as part of the festival. It's a sort of a renaissance of the show.
So what's it about?
The show is really about me growing up in rural Ireland and being, well, somewhat obsessed with America and coming to live in America, and with the music, the culture, and then my process of actually getting a green card and coming here. It's a light-hearted romp through the Irish countryside.
We're actually a part of New York Shakespeare Exchange. Vince is on the board of New York Shakespeare Exchange, and I'm one of the producers. And George has graciously said, why doesn't your company do something in the production or in the festival this year as an event? So Vince, this is one of our...
So Shakesbeer, one of the events that we do at New York Shakespeare Exchange is something called Shakesbeer, which is the original New York City Shakespearean pub crawl. And so we do these events where it's kind of like an intro to Shakespeare for people who think Shakespeare isn't for them. You get, for the cost of your ticket, you get 4 performances, 4 drink tickets, and we'd go to 4 different bars. And in the middle of the bar, a Shakespearean scene will happen in and around the audience, just the people in the bar. So the person you've been standing next to the whole time suddenly jumps on a bar and is Juliet, and the guy next to you becomes Romeo. Well, we've been doing these for several years, and they're very successful and a lot of fun. Just fun for Shakespeare people, but also a lot of fun for people who maybe are a little scared off of Shakespeare. Well, through Carey, who's now worked with Origin Theatre a couple times in the First Irish Festival, we kind of all got to know each other, and so we are doing a pub crawl as a part of the First Irish Festival this year, and including some Irish material along with the Shakespeare. So this is our first Irish Shakesbeer, and it's happening September 17th and 10th. I did that out of order. 10th and 17th, 2 Saturdays in a row as part of the festival, and it's wildly fun. We're going to be in Hell's Kitchen at 4 different Irish pubs, and people should come because it's fun. And we've expanded it to do all kinds of crazy stuff, some very wildly funny stuff, some insane things like the end of Hamlet. as a drinking game.
Every time someone dies, you get to take a sip.
Well, that Hamlet and Laertes are doing shots instead of dueling with sabers. Yeah, it's really charming, and it's really a fun day, and we just kind of start in the afternoon and spend the day together, having fun, relaxing, hanging out, and laughing our heads off. So we're excited to do it as part of this, and to do a little Irish stuff in there as well.
We call it's Shakesbeer with an Irish twist.
This is Mark Savage's leftover review of Conor McPherson's adaptation of Daphne du Maurier's The Birds as part of Origin's first Irish festival. He wonders if humans can survive nature run amok. An apocalyptic and bleak but gripping story, he gives it a happy face. And thank you to all of our special guests that we had. A special memorial for Theodore Bikel, and the Elizabeth Taylor Greenfield story Opera Exposure is gorgeous. I've seen it before. And the encores for The Fringe still going on at Soho Playhouse and the Huron Club. And check out everything at Origin's first Irish festival. And I'm sorry I did not get Crackskull Row. I didn't realize it, before I saw it. So I'm sorry if I misunderstood it. And Richard Skipper Celebrates and Spamilton are also going on at Try It, along with McCready. Melissa Ericos at Feinstein's. And Ben Schechter is at Metropolitan Room. And Laura Benanti's going to be at Cafe Carlisle. Along with Blossom at Dixie Places Reno. And my friend Noah Miller is doing his show Under the Rubble, which is really, really fun. Lots of stuff at Dream Up Festival still going on. And past the tracks, I'm going to try to see it here. Theater's back in full swing. BAM has so much cool stuff coming up. I'll post on my Facebook page so you can see it, because there's just too much. Isabel Hooper's going to be at BAM. And these are shows we're going to be seeing and talking about for next show. And there's a lot. And Taylor Mack, October 8th, he's doing his 24-hour thing that's going to be amazing. And these are closed shows you can see on our Facebook page. These are ongoing. And don't forget to pick up your Performing Arts Insider, your cultural heartbeat in New York City. Our next show is October 1st. And don't forget, on the Facebook page, and now we have Twitter, you can see longer and shorter reviews. So check us out.